What's going on, guys? Hope you are doing fine. Welcome to my channel. First of all, this is my first video where I'm gonna talk a little bit about myself, who am I, what I do, and what I intend to do in future on this YouTube channel. So my name is Samir, and I'm from India. I moved to US about 10 years ago, and while working during COVID, I discovered my interest in trading. I started with Forex, and after trading for 2 years, I moved on to futures. Last year, I came back from the US, and now I live in a small town on the west coast of India where I trade gold during London session and New York Open, and NQ during the New York session after the stock markets open. So, so from here on, I'm going to share the trades I was able to um, spot during every session so that you guys can learn. The reason I'm starting this channel is just to share some knowledge, my insight. If you are struggling, if you are finding any reason for not being profitable, you can always join my Discord. It's free, where I'm going to share my insight, my trade ideas, and you can also um, share your charts and have fun with other people so that we all can learn together and grow together. So moving on, this is the NASDAQ into futures. The way I trade is very simple. I'm going to simplify all the support and resistance, supply and demand, or ICT concepts. So if you start on a higher time frame, you see, if you look at the weekly time, you just have to look at the last leg of the price. And again, I'm not going to be talking about the basics of how the structure from this to this, because there are so many videos are available today on the internet where you can learn all these basics things. So I assume that you guys are well aware of this basic concept of trading. We can move forward. So if you look at the weekly structure on this NQ futures, you see this was the leg, and from here, after price tapped it to this fair value gap, where just move this, swept this low, and the intention was price continue going up. But what we got after sweeping this low, we got price started, then came down, and it's pretty much in this range. So that's the weekly time frame, which I don't pay much attention to. Then, as weekly is ranging, the daily time frame is also not that you know to look at it. There's just not a clear price action here. However, I'm a day trader, so I try to take trades every day based on what price is doing at that moment. What I mean by that, what price is going to do in the next couple of hours after New York stock market's open. So yesterday, I took one loss, one win, and again, the way I trade is very simple. Okay, this is how I trade. So this is how I trade. If this, just let me. If this is the structure on higher time frame, let's say on 1 hour, this is the structure. This was the previous high. This leg broke the high and it created an impulsive move up. So this is the 1 hour move. I try to find the imbalances, fair value gap on this time frame, and on a lower time frame, let's say on 5, I just wait for the price to somehow tap in or sweep this liquidity or some internal liquidity here, and on then as soon as price taps in here, I switch to 1 minute and try to see whether I get any sort of entry. I'm going to talk a little bit more about how I entered the trading later in this video. And again, this is simple concept: supply and demand, support and resistance, fair value gap. Everything is the same. It's just being told in different ways that you get more confused. That's how trading works these days. So when so this was yesterday's price action, and I marked this low. I just don't see anything clear on this time frame, so I moved on to 1 hour time. As you can see, yesterday's price was this. So this was the move up. You see, this was the move. So overall, this was the leg, and it's very simple. First, you identify the leg on higher time. Mark out all the zones like fair value gap, or this is the entire zone, this is the entire order block, whatever is convenient to you. Let me just put it this way, because everything is the same. And so I just marked out this because this is the entire zone I was looking at. Price would do something in that. So when I went back 5-minute, this was the price. You see, the structure was this. This was the low, this was the high. This low was broken. Impulsively moved up. So what I was expecting, and it also tapped in. See, this is the imbalance, but this wasn't the best imbalance because this fair value gap was, you see, this is to move. The expectation is from here price to retrace and then take this liquidity. That is the intention. However, you have to mark this because there is this gap. From here price might give some sort of reaction and continue like this, and then continue to move down. That was the expectation. However, what price did on 5-minute, as you can see, it swept this low, and when I went back, I was not ready to take longs from here. Let me just say this. I was not ready to take long on this one because there's not, the structure is not in my favor to take the longs, and you can't just take trades on every fair value gap. So I waited for price to give me a little bit confirmation on what it intends to do, and as price came in here, I had marked up this liquidity, and I was just waiting. Okay, there are four things you have to understand. First, you have to identify what the structure is. Let me just say this. So first thing, you have to identify the structure and mark your zones. The second, wait for the price to tap in the zone. Third, it must sweep and give impulsive reaction. And the fourth, which is most important, that you have to observe, you have to watch the previous leg. For some liquidity. So this is what I pretty much trade with. There are four things, and out of these four, if I get three, I'm gonna take a trade. So I waited here, and as soon as price swept this high, again, structure was bearish. I marked out my zone. This was the gap from last week and opened today, this week. So I waited for the price to tap and I waited for the reaction. Did I get any reaction? You see, after sweeping high, I didn't get any reaction. So price broke this. This is the leg. Price broke and started to move, thinking it might take this thing. So tapped in here. This is a tiny. Again, it's the same philosophy. This is the tiny imbalance, very tiny, not the best zone. So after price tapped in here, I went back on 1 minute and I saw the reaction. This was the reaction. You know, this is my entry. This is what I call inverse fair value gap. So I entered with the buy stop. As soon as it broke this high, I entered and I got stopped out. I closed my trade on here. So it was 22 point stop loss. So I was still there, price is still in that zone. I was still looking to take shorts. And the moment price swept this line, again, what's our criteria? Before the price to tap in, so it is above the zone, but still we are close to that zone. You see the reaction on 1 minute, and then watch this leg, so that price can, you see, when price sweeps this high, I'm watching this leg, where there are no fair value gaps. So like when price moves down, it moves down without any disturbance. It just goes down like this. That's the intention. That's how I trade, and that's what I'm be teaching, or rather sharing every day, whether I take wins or losses. That's what I'm gonna share. So, moment price tapped in here, this was a little bit different where there are only two entries I have. You see, after price swept this side, there was no gap in here, but it swept the high and impulsively moved on. I saw a little bit of this FVG. I waited for price to tap in again. Once price closed out of this gap, I entered sell stop here. I stop loss here, and I was targeting this low. As you see, this was the FVG here. So I'm a scalper. I just want to get in out of it. So it swept the high, and it was 32 points win. So it's 22 points loss. So 10 points win yesterday, and that was it. After this, I stopped trading. And that's how I trade, guys. That's how I trade every day. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, or you can join the Discord, where before every session I share my analysis, what I'm looking at, price, and what I wanted to see to take the trade. Hope you learned something today. If not, that's fine. We're just gonna keep sharing the information, knowledge, and hope to see you in the next one. Thanks.